Yesterday I said that it was some sort of a snowy disaster. It was a mistake, because the snowy disaster is today. The snow has fallen since yesterday and it's literally hard to move through it. Even using the pedestrian roads. Even using the pedestrian roads. But I have no choice. I have no choice. It could be not seen on the video, but it's actually kinda hard to see ahead. Kinda hard because it's so wide. Right at the moment that I said that it's snowy, the snow stopped to fall, almost. But this gap wouldn't fool me because it was even sunny in the middle of the day. But generally it's snowy. Generally it's snowy. Extremely snowy. But in this area roads are generally clean. Yeah, generally clean. But it was the same yesterday. I wonder what is happening in the city center. It could be a big surprise for me. And just like yesterday, the snow is trampled on the pedestrian roads, trampled and cleaned, and it became flat compared to the weak roads. It's much better, but still not so safety, especially during using the handbrakes. The winter scenery is awesome after this kind of intensive snowfall, especially. But I made a mistake again. It's not that it is a mistake, but it would be better if I would start my trip 2 hours earlier, because it started to become dark, so I have something like half an hour of the bright time to spend it in the park. Yeah, I'll stop at the first checkpoint in the park today. Splendid. And the snowfall started again, actually. Yeah, it really started again, as I said, so today is a fully snowy day. And I'm sure that it will end maybe not today, tomorrow, maybe during tomorrow. Maybe it will fall for a whole week, maybe it will fall for a whole day tomorrow. Who knows, who knows. And I almost reached the park. Yeah, it's a sort of positive sign. But the weather is really starting to become worse. And here I am. Yeah, here I am on one of these benches. I think I'll choose the far one. The far one. Somebody even cleaned it today. But during the snow it's kinda easy to clean them because they are still dry. So 30 minutes here will be quite enough to meet the sunset. Yeah, definitely it is. After half an hour the snow is even intensified. Surprisingly, but it's so beautiful. Yeah, especially in the park. So I'm moving ahead. I head back home. I remember the high speeds that I gained on this track 2 weeks ago and 1 week ago. One of the fastest track on the road, because it's wide, it's flat and it's straight. So it was extremely easy back then. But now it is a total disaster. Beautiful, but disaster. But beautiful. The winter scenery is gorgeous. Extremely gorgeous. Especially in the forest. And pedestrian road is cleaner only on the tracks that were cleaned. Some of them were not. And then I have no choice but to use the weaker road. But somewhere, just like here, It's totally flat. It has totally flat lines on it. That's convenient. But still. I've reached the fast slope, and you know what? The road is not cleaned here on this downward slope, the fastest track on the road back home. It's possible to use the vehicle road, but I'm choosing safety today. It's so unsafe to gain extremely high speeds in this kind of weather. So I think I'll move on the low speed, just like it is now, on the regular speed, but still. There is no choice today. It's better to do like that, from my point of view. Definitely better. Actually, yesterday it was clean in this part of the city, but today the snow is still falling, so that's the reason why it was not cleaned again today, because maybe it's too hard for the staff, for the service to make it, to deal with such an intensive snowfall, because it's truly a disaster. It happens once a year, or maybe not happen, because last year I don't remember such a disaster, such an intensive snowfall. Yeah, maybe it means that the summer will be warm. Who knows? The opposite side is fully clean, actually. I think the reason is that this road is a bit alienated from the residential areas and from the industrial areas. I mean, this house is some sort of the factory, but there is no entrance, so nobody is using this street, almost nobody, because it's kind of hard to find anybody here on this road. Yeah, it's useful in summer, but during the snowfall it's not. But still, it's not that bad. At least I have no choice but to use it. Anyway, moving downwards the slope is much more comfortable than moving upwards. Even during such a mess, such a disaster, even during such a snowy disaster, it's much better than moving upwards it. So it's not that bad. And I finally finished the trek with the wide pedestrian roads and entered the straight avenue right to the city center, right to the bridge. I mean, to the second checkpoint on my way. But unfortunately I'll use the pedestrian roads today, so the road will be slow and not so comfortable like it usually is. But the views are literally splendid. The real winter scenery. Can the snowfall be even more longer? Great, looks great. Today is the sort of weather when it's better to stay at home or to just recreate, to just ski around the park, but not to move through the city on the bicycle. And the snow is extremely intensified again, just like it was at the beginning. I mean, extremely intensified. It's so beautiful, but still. Well, I think I'll just relax it and move on a low speed. Why not? Perfect chance to see the real winter scenery. It's so gorgeous, ultimately gorgeous. It's even possible just to stay right on the roadside and just to look ahead. Extremely good. And the snow is even intensifying. I mean, it's even more and more intensive. Great. Yeah, undoubtedly, it's great. who could even predict that the just ordinary road in the middle of the industrial area could be so gorgeous? Nobody. It's even interesting what will happen if I were in the city center. It could be even more gorgeous. I mean, if it's happening on the gloomy, grey, ordinary street inside the industrial area. But I'll enter the city center after the, I wanted to say 15 minutes, actually now, after half an hour. But it's worth it. But it's worth to just use the walking speed. Yeah. I've reached the TV tower turn, and you know what? It is not sparkling. It would be even more surprisingly if it were sparkling during this sort of weather. But actually the snowfall intensity came back to its normal state. So the winter tale will last it for only 10 minutes. But it's worth it, definitely. And don't forget that it is Sunday evening now, and it means that it's quite empty and fresh around. Just how I like it. Only some vehicles and buses are moving around, but it's literally quiet and empty, especially looking at the pedestrians, because there are literally none of them in this area. It will change in the city center, but now I can relax. The February serenity, great. That's why I like the winter, the charmful time. The closer the city center, the narrower the streets and the crowd there. Yeah, the city is starting to become more and more alive. And it left only 15 minutes to reach the bridge. I wonder what is happening there. It could be tremendously gorgeous views from it. Can't wait to see it, actually. Can't wait to see it. And I've reached the grey stylish building on the right side. No, actually it is ordinary. It can be possible to say that it's not looks so good, but from my point of view it has some sort of charm. I don't know why. Maybe because it's so laconic, or who knows. But for some reason I like this building. Yeah, I like this building. It's 100% ordinary, but from my point of view it looks good. Especially during this sort of the snowy weather. With these backlights. Splendid. Welcome to the city center. And for some reason pedestrian roads are still empty. I mean, compared to its usual state. Yeah, nobody wants to walk around in this sort of weather. It's actually not that late, it's something like 6 o'clock, but still. But the views are gorgeous. I mean, the river views, the bridge is sparkling ahead, great. And the snow is white, so the backlight of the bridge is actually shining so bright with the snow in it. Great. Undoubtedly. Yeah, it's the second checkpoint on the way. The first was the park. The second checkpoint of the way, and I'm crossing it on foot just like as usual. It's definitely worth it. Maybe I can stay here for some time, because at first I wanted to move to the city center, but the road's condition are awful. The road condition is awful. So now I'm gonna straight back home, and maybe if it will continue tomorrow, this sort of the weather, maybe I'll go for another walk. And actually I see the hole in the sky. I mean, it was sunny during the day, and I can see the sky through these clouds. Strange weather, but good. Yeah, it's quite funny actually. But I have to go ahead. Or not. Yeah, maybe I can spend here 5 minutes or 10 minutes just looking ahead. Why not? Quite a perfect idea from my point of view. And also the second advantage of this day that this is the wind direction. As you can notice, the snow is falling ahead. I mean, it's comfortable for my eyes to look ahead because it is falling from the back side. Such a happy advantage actually, such like advantage of it, undoubtedly. And I've reached the next checkpoint. I mean, it's not that it is a checkpoint, but some sort of the stop. Yeah, the Chinese garden. It's even nice to spend here, especially with the lanterns turned on. Another 10 minutes. Why not? Because on this sort of snow it looks great, undoubtedly. One of the coziest places in the city, especially right now with this snow on the pines. Undoubtedly great, nothing to add here. The city center is splendid, undoubtedly. The third checkpoint reached. And you know what is happening on the main city street? Also the snowy disaster. Nothing changed here, as expected actually. And so I'm moving ahead non-stop because there's nothing interesting to do here. Nothing interesting. But it looks gorgeous, even better than it was on the outskirts. The snow is not so intensive like it was during the last 10 minutes snowstorm, but still, whoa, but still. It would be a local flood and it will stream on the next warm day, undoubtedly. And the snow is still falling, and according to the forecast it will fall tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Who knows, will it be real or not? It was the most inconvenient track part of the way, the most inconvenient one. Especially because I had to move with the vehicles, and the vehicle road condition is awful. It's really a disaster because it was so easy to slide and to fall down on it. And don't forget about the vehicles. But now it became better because the pedestrian way became empty and it's possible to move through it. Whoa, it's even sort of hard because I spent 3 hours here, literally 3 hours outside, moving back home. It's so long because it left to move I think something like 40 minutes or half an hour if I will be faster, but actually it's not that easy. 40 minutes or something like that. And usually it takes 1.5 hours for the whole road. 1.5 hours. Comparing to the nowadays, the difference is significant, but there is no way. And I almost came home, so it's even not that bad, and it's actually so beautiful that it's worth it. It can be considered as my Saturday walk around the city. Yeah, the Saturday riding around the city. Sunday. I wanted to say Sunday, not Saturday. And you know what? I turned right to the back street, and the road condition significantly improved. At first it became wide because of the lack of the vehicles, and at second it became easier to move through it. Because the snow here is flat. The snow here is flat and fresh compared to the crowded roads. That's better. That's much better. But some parts of it started to become an ice rink, and I'm kinda afraid of it. But it's not that bad. Gorgeous, really. The white roads are gorgeous through the old city. It's significantly rare to see the white vehicle road. Literally the white and clean, significantly rare. And now I see it. Lucky? Definitely. And the fourth checkpoint reached. The fourth checkpoint. And it means that I'm extremely close to the end of this long snowy way. Yeah, extremely close. And it actually was some sort of pleasant. Yeah, some sort of pleasant. It was kind of hard to move through the city center, but you know, this snowfall scenery, definitely worth it. No, really, definitely worth. That's great, even because of the lanterns. I think it would be not so cute and gorgeous if I were moving through it during the bright time, because it would be kinda hard to notice. But with the lanterns, it's kinda easy to see, especially when it is intensive. And actually, it's an advantage that it became empty. All the streets are empty. That's why I like Sundays, especially Sunday evenings. Great. Undoubtedly great. All this vehicle road disaster finished. Finally. And now I can only move using the pedestrian roads. You know, the main problem of the city center, that the road sides are extremely narrow. It's even hard to move on foot through it sometimes, some parts of the day. But on the bicycle it's impossible in the city center. Impossible. But still. So, it left only 20 minutes to come back home. And actually I'm a bit tired of it. You know, moving through these dirty roads is sort of hard, actually. It's just like I'm moving on the high speed, but actually I'm moving on the low speed. But tired the same as from the long marathon. Compared to the northern outskirts, the roads here are much dirtier. I had a feeling that no one even cleaned them, even one time, because it's fully covered by snow. Fully covered. Maybe vehicle roads once were cleaned, but the pedestrian roads, no. Yeah. And I see the hole in the sky, and it actually means that the sky is clear right now. Interesting mix of the snow and the clear weather. If it were the middle of the day, it would be possible to see the sun, by the way. But it's actually easier to move through the raw virgin road because there is no ice underneath, and so it's safer, much safer, and easier to rotate the wheels for some strange reason. It was a mistake to say that nobody's cleaning the roads in the area, because well, because on the residential part of it, it's much better than in the industrial, because the industrial part is kinda empty, there no one hanging around Sunday, and this part is much more crowded. And I almost reached the end of this long way, of this long hard way. Great, I'm happy, but still I have some things to do outside, so I will park my bicycle and move to the second trip. Yeah, but on foot. The snow is pure white. It's dry. It really even feels fresh. Great. And it's also quiet because it's Sunday evening. Perfect. So I have a bag full of cargo, a heavy one, and have some things to do. Don't think that it's too late because it's only 8:30. The empty serenity. Magnificent. The 4-day long snowfall is literally the only one chance to see the streets that clean. Advantaging. I mean, with the lack of cars and pedestrians, it feels so quiet and fresh, just like, I don't know, just like you're walking around the village or the forest. Great. Yeah, definitely the great day. It's even better than the sunny day. Yeah, even better than the sunny day in the winter, because it's so beautiful and fresh today. Great. It's extremely rare to see this sort of the picture in the winter. And I said that the trucks are cleaning the street. Yeah, 4 of them, 5, 6, 7 of them. Literally 7 trucks are cleaning this street. Great. But unfortunately the streets are extremely dirty. It's some sort of disaster today. It is 11 p.m. and I'm finally coming back home, and what can I see? What did I notice? That the roads were cleaned again. Yeah, it's kinda late actually. And the snow is still falling. It's even intensified. Beautiful weather. Beautiful, if only you are not using the bicycle. So it's 11 p.m. as I said, I'm coming back home. There is the bed clothes on the dryer. I have to put them inside the closet, and to eat some sort of the dinner. Yeah, actually I was eating today the dinner. I was having a dinner today before starting my trip. But I think something like instant noodles. Yeah, instant noodles. Perfect decision for this evening, right before going to bed. Let's clean this mess. Okay. And the last part is the second dinner. Yeah, the second dinner. So, and this plain dish will finish my day. It's 11:30. Oh, kinda late today. Yeah, it was sort of long. Sort of a long day. The snow is still falling so intensive. Interesting. I'm also interested, will it be that snowy tomorrow or not? Because I don't know what am I going to do. But for now, let's just eat and go to bed.